Dude, I feel so bad for like the people that are still like in the cult, which I'm sure he'll pause when he watches this broadcast on his show. I'm sure he'll pause and be like, "Cult, oh my God, she called it a. I can't. Can you believe this?" I'm sure he'll hyper focus on it. Read like a book, unfortunately, but this is so sad. I really wanted to talk about I really wanted to talk about this, or I wanted to watch this with you guys really quickly. It made me happy, but it also kind of made me sad thinking about the people who are still in there. Austin Knox posted this video. Sorry, Dexterity Knox posted this video. And I do like really feel bad for the people that are still in there. This post has been making the rounds a little bit. I'm not sure how many of you guys have seen it. One's if you've seen this, two's if you haven't. H3 podcast fan on TikTok said that she, after watching Ethan and Hassan debate, she feels like a fucking idiot and is canceling her paid membership. Ethan, this whole time has been doing All Lives Matter in front of our face, and it took me this long to realize.
Being on Ethan's side, and came out of the debate in a full 180 and will be canceling my paid membership. I feel like a fucking idiot. Ethan has pulled the victim card so well. Ethan begged for this debate for how long? And he didn't debate. He got angry anytime Hassan was making a point, said...
I mean, the very beginning is like pathetic. Sorry, I can't really turn up the volume. It's already volume max 600%. This is the highest I can make it. The very beginning of the debate, it's obvious that he's not interested in actually having a discussion. As a Fallen fan, he was famous for never watching full commentary on himself, picking and choosing parts that suited his argument. Can you link the tweet? Yeah, I'd be happy to. But in the very first section of the debate where Hassan's like, hey, I think before we can get into anything, we should define a couple of words. I think it's important for us to have these definitions and that we agree on these definitions before we move forward. And Hassan gets him to define Zionist, and immediately after that, he goes into a rage, bringing up the swastika sword and says, isn't it weird that you did this? Isn't it weird that iDubbbz did this? You did this in your house. iDubbbz had the swastika boy. iDubbbz has this in your house, and he didn't say anything. A swastika iDubbbz, swastika boy. It's like, what the fuck? Wait, did it start with the Fortnite L dance? Like, it just looks pathetic when this person is trying to genuinely have a conversation with you and they're trying to define some words before you get any further, like making sure we agree on what a Zionist is, the definition of what a Zionist is, agreeing on the definition of what a genocide is, agreeing on the definition of a variety of things. And then you just immediately go into this L dance, guys, we have to talk about the L dance. It's like, holy shit. Like, you don't actually care about having this conversation. You just really need to get your gotchas in. And then if the person starts responding with any facts, you just say, this is boring. People don't care. Dude, you're making this unwatchable. Hey, Denims, I'm a former CPS worker in that field for a decade. I actually love that you're taking this step. It's wrong to make false CPS reports, but it's also wrong to go after someone else wrongfully accusing them of making a false CPS report. The system is already strained and broken enough, and the way that Ethan weaponized his millions of followers against small creators should have an iota of accountability for what he's doing, for what he's done. Good luck. And again, like, I really appreciate this message. I say it in the clip that he keeps using to be like, look, this is her justifying it. You literally press play on the rest of that clip before, right after the cut. And it's me saying, but regardless, I don't think we should use CPS this way. I don't think CPS should be used for someone like Ethan Klein. I talk about how I respect that he doesn't bring his kids on camera. And I talk about how CPS really should, when it comes to creators, it really only should be used for those fucking family vloggers, the ones that like milk their children for content. It's like every day is like a new video where my kid does this, and like I'm like scared of those people, but I've been told that they've done like my daughter's first period, which is like, and those family vloggers, you're abusing your children for content. You're uploading content every single day. And it's like 30, 40 minutes. It's like that is not acceptable. That is not acceptable. And that should, I mean, I think the rules should be way more strict. I know Gruesome Newsome, one rare L at this point was him pushing legislation that makes it harder for parents to abuse their children for content online, specifically family vloggers. specifically family vloggers. And for those people, in my opinion, that feels like child exploitation. But I gave Ethan credit for not engaging this behavior. I gave Ethan credit for this and saying, yeah, I appreciate that you don't use your kids as content. And I don't think you should have CPS called on you. But he doesn't want to include that in any of his videos. And even though he admitted that he knows that I said, I don't condone this and I've never condoned it, he needs to keep pushing this narrative because he can't take accountability for the fact that he's overshared on his show. That's why they're all moving to Tennessee. That's so fucking gross, dude. I don't like family vloggers. I don't like them. They make me very uncomfortable. I think that's a pretty cold take. If it's a hot take, dude, fucking... Oh my God. Someone donated 1K. That's fucking crazy. Jesus. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. I really cannot explain in words how appreciative I am.
I'm not crying, you're crying. Crying face.
No, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna pull a Tectone. I'm not gonna do it. I will stay strong. I want to get back to the rest of this video.
That the audience was gonna get bored. This is what we came for, Ethan. And I'm gonna sit here and watch the full 5 hours while you make a fucking fool of yourself. You look so dumb. And it's so disheartening knowing that the crew is stuck. Yeah, they can...
And like, I know...
Denims is streaming?
Dan is the one exception to this rule where he actively participates in the lies that Ethan pushes. Like, he engages with it. I mean, even with me, he did it. Where he has to be in on it. Like, he has to know that he's lying, that he's knowingly lying, and he's just getting his bag. I know, like, Zach and Word Love and all those other people, I don't know. I just, like, man, dude, it doesn't feel good for me to talk about people like Olivia and AB. Because I know if I was in that position, I would struggle hardcore. And AB is losing me. He's losing me rapidly. And it's like, dude, I know you're not a bad dude, but like, why? Why are you making videos?
Can someone please link a clip from Avatar that involves character growth so we can get her to cry while she is vulnerable?
Why are you making videos on your channel defending this, like, dude, come on. I don't have it on hand. Maybe if somebody else has it on hand. The fucking Arabs comment and the response to the fucking Arabs comment, this comment.
Not by choice, but because they were forced out. The vast majority went to the fucking Arabs. The Arabs, the anti-Semitic Arabs.
There you go.
What? There you go. What? That's my point. Are you okay?
My case.
Okay, well, I mean,
no, you're too fucking delusional to realize what kind of racist nonsense you're fucking chirping on. That was my entire point.
It's historic. I mean, it's historical.
And I was like, it's okay. He's going to get on the show and explain and denounce the phrasing that he used here, right? And then they doubled down on it. Thank you. Thank you for this clip, Remy. I couldn't believe this, dude. I still can't believe it. Like, I'm kind of still processing this clip because it's so insane.
I knew in the moment you were using it as saying, like, obviously what I'm saying is the Arabs. But that being said, I knew in that moment that it was going to get clipped.
It didn't even occur to me.
Why? Well, that's why you have to regulate your anger in moments like that.
There's literally nothing I can do.
I kind of agree.
There's literally nothing I can do. I couldn't help screaming the fucking Arabs because there was nothing I could do
with you just because I know you and I think you're right that there's nothing you can do.
Not just that.
It's still, I think it's a valid criticism though, that when talking about something that sensitive, that keeping your emotions in check and just speaking calmly and clearly without,
to be honest with
using that kind of language, because it is going to get clipped like that.
Please, Ramallah Raider, please tell us.
Maybe
this was
right.
5 hours of intense.
No, I get it.
Intense
I get it.
conversation. Like,
that's crazy because at no point in that conversation did Hassan say, quote, the fucking Jews, end quote. Hassan managed to not say that after a 5-hour long discussion. What's Ethan's problem? That he couldn't resist.
There's a moment clippable. I mean, kind of understandable.
But like if Hassan said the fucking Jews, there's no way you would have dropped that.
Yeah, because it doesn't make. First of all, that's when and what context does that make sense?
Well, if he was, I don't know, whatever
the Arabs.
Yeah, it would be within the context of the Nakba, and it would be anti-Semitic to make that claim because you're stereotyping and you're creating this group or you're making this group into a monolith, and that's incorrect. In the same way that you can't just talk about the Arabs as if every single Arab country is exactly the same, is governed exactly the same way, has exactly the same type of Arabs, when like this is like literally factually incorrect. The Arabs are a monolith. That's literally what Putin says about Ukraine. These are basically Russians. This is basically our land. This is basically our territory. We should be able to just take all of this. It's like, oh, these are basically all the same type of they're Arabs. It's all the same thing. We should be able to fucking genocide them if we want to. That's the next step of this argument.
Is a collection of a bunch of nations that all collectively kicked the Jews out.
Yeah, so, I know.
If he said the fucking Jews, what is he talking about?
Yeah, I guess more comparable would be the fucking Israelis.
It would be, I didn't even use it like that. It'd be more like the Jews are, they're fucking complicit or something because it's not like, I'm not saying fuck the Arabs.
No, I know.
I know you're not saying that, but that's also how, this is the world we live in.
Yeah.
Like it's, unfortunately.
So
can you imagine saying the fucking blacks and then later going back and saying, well, I wasn't being racist towards black people. I was just like, what I was saying.
I have two responses to that. One, I can't prevent this because these people are out and open liars, and they have an entire network of propaganda and disinformation. As you can see here, 18,000.
Mm-hmm. No, I got you.
I mean, and second of all, I think there is a time to raise your voice.
I'm sorry. What?
Because these people are out and open liars, and they have an entire network of propaganda and disinformation. As you can see here, 18,000.
Saying that these people are open liars, out and open liars. And they have an entire disinfo network. And the disinfo network is a clip of the two of them talking.
Mm-hmm. No, I got you.
And second of all, I think there is a time to raise your voice and get passionate. And I think that was one of the times. And you'll see that the other clip that came out.
I'm saying you can't get passionate.
Yeah, we're not talking about what you're actually talking about. Just giving people that clip.
Just uttering that phrase. I get it, but
I didn't.
I also
honestly
understand what you guys are saying, but like nobody's perfect.
I don't know how I never saw that section. Nobody is perfect. I don't have any words for that. It's so awe-inspiring that you can be friends with or married to someone who says an unbelievably racist statement and then defend it by saying, well, nobody's perfect. It was a really long stream. What? Which kind of makes me want to watch like a little bit of this soft take video because I feel like this is a small like microcosm of what this video is trying to talk about. That a lot of the stuff that Hila talks about on the podcast, she does not hold pro-Israel voices to nearly the same standard that she holds pro-Palestinian voices to. Ethan can like fall over backwards on himself saying unbelievable statements, and it's 5 hours long. It was really hard. No one's perfect. That's not what he meant. And the second anyone else does anything that she disapproves of, they should be deplatformed.
Hey guys, this is Soft Take, or newly referred as a
dumb fucking moron.
Hila Klein, once the reserved counterpart to Ethan. She was known for her awkward charm and subtle humor. In the early days of H3, she was the shy, friendly presence besides Ethan's loud personality. The things she would say were once lighthearted or grounded.
She left last time as an Israeli. She enters today as an American. Hila, how does it feel? Tell me everything.
I feel like now I can really ride it. We got the flags and the balloon.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I didn't get to finalize my point on that. Thank you for bringing me back. Miss Point, forget the fucking Arabs. The point is blaming the Arabs as a whole for Jewish expulsion ignores the fact that these were discrete policies by individual governments, not a coordinated Arab effort. Sorry, you're right. I should have addressed that. First of all, to pretend like every single country had an expulsion of Jews for exactly the same reason because they all had the exact same hive mind is racist. It's objectively racist. I don't even have words for the level of racism on that. The reality is every single government for every single country that had a majority Arab people in it had different reasons on why the Jewish people left those countries, All of the French states, Morocco is the one that I'm aware of most intimately. That was a French-controlled state.
Face, proud of your greater success lately.
There
Well
was
deserved.
Western colonial rule
DNML.
that pushed the Jews out. And the government in power, the Arabs that were in power, tried to protect their Jewish population. At worst, the Arab population didn't care and were apathetic to the Jewish struggle. And at best, helped to protect and wanted to protect the Jews. And that's one country. Algeria is another one where it was under French colonial rule. Like, you can't look at all of these instances and then say, well, there was anti-Semitism in these countries, which means that we have to, genocide the Palestinians now? Again, when I say that, this is literally the defense that Russia uses right now for Ukraine. Literally, Russia's defense is they were attacking us first. Also, there's a bunch of Nazis that we're going to take care of. And that's why we have to invade. Functionally, that is the same thing. You're pointing at these countries, pretending like all of them are a monolith, pretending like all the people are in agreement, pretending like they are a hive mind, that every single one of these Arab people is anti-Semitic, and they all collectively decided to push the Jews out, ignoring the Nakba, ignoring French Western rule, and then using it to justify Israel's current existence as an apartheid state. What the fuck? You've lost me on every part of this. And I remember during the debate, he insisted on staying on the point about Iraqi Jews being anti-Semitic. And it's like, wait, so what? You think that Palestinians can be just genocided? Even if we take your word at face value and assume everything you say is right. Huh? Overzealots made a really good video about this exactly yesterday. But anti-Semitism does exist among Arabs, though. Yeah, and guess where else it exists? Literally everywhere else, you don't suddenly get to genocide a people. The problem is that first of all, also at the time of the Nakba, the Arabs weren't the ones genociding the Jews. That was the Europeans. That was the Germans. To blame the state of Israel, to say the state of Israel exists because of the fucking Arabs being anti-Semitic, when the state of Israel exists because the fucking Germans were fucking genociding them, is crazy. It's actually insane. Like, dude, this is what the effing Arabs did in Morocco during the Holocaust. Protected Moroccan Jewish people from the fascist Vichy government, only recently acknowledged by the Israeli government. Please read this. This is from the Times of Israel from December 2022. Herzog hails Moroccan king for country's treatment of Jews during the Holocaust. Praises Mohammed V, who made the North African country into a safe haven from Nazi persecution during World War II. Thanks current monarch for supporting community and education. President Isaac Herzog thanked Morocco's King Mohammed VI in a letter on Tuesday for his country's provision of a safe haven for Jews during the Holocaust. The letter, marking 2 years since Morocco normalized ties with Israel, was the first occasion an Israeli state official paid tribute to the Holocaust-era actions of Morocco's monarch at the time, according to the presidency. Herzog expressed Israel's gratitude to the king and the people of Morocco, who for generations have acted to protect the security, welfare, and cultural heritage of the kingdom's Jewish community. Herzog mentioned Jews settling in Morocco following their expulsion from Spain in the late 15th century, before noting North African countries' protection of the Jews during World War II. When millions of Jews faced the horrors of the Holocaust in the 20th century, King Mohammed V provided a safe haven for Jewish subjects. And again, you can look, it's so fucked. It is so fucked to pretend like every single one of these Arab countries, well, they have Arabs and Arabs are anti-Semitic. So obviously all of them wanted to get rid of the Jews. It's like, that's so Islamophobic. That's so fucking racist. And this is one of the countries. The same is true in Algeria that I know of. Look at the Levant affair. Don't even fucking get me started. Don't even get me started. Among a variety of other countries. And it doesn't change the fact that it doesn't mean because a government behaved in a certain way, it doesn't mean that the people all believe this thing. What, because Americans pay taxes, every single one of us is cool with with how our taxpayer dollars are spent? This is the other major point of contention that I have with his argument. The government can act in a way that is beneficial to its relationships with Europe, despite its people disagreeing. Look at the US. So, and it's like, yes, there was anti-Semitism in these countries because anti-Semitism has existed in every fucking country. It doesn't give you the okay to suddenly genocide people. I guess we should genocide the United States because there are anti-Semitic people in the United States. We should collective punishment Americans because of our anti-Semitism. What the fuck are we talking about here? Oh my God. And yeah, I've been seeing this shit. Ethan Klein is actually so gross for this shit, constantly pushing lies about anyone who disagrees. The Zionist ass takes. Zionists here for the purpose of not being banned and brigaded means being pro-Israel. Believing that Israel has a right to exist, looking at the retaliation of Israel after October 7th and saying that maybe it was a little harsh, but, how else were they supposed to react? That the current ethno-state that is Israel has a right to exist as is, as an ethno-state. Gremlo, thank you so much for the raid. Jesus, thank you, raiders. Welcome. Welcome, 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 raiders. Hi guys. Hey.
DNMK comrade.
For anyone who doesn't know, I issued a demand for a public retraction of false publications to Ethan Klein yesterday. And if he does not retract, I have opened a GoFundMe, ethankleinlied.com, which we've raised $12,000, which is fucking crazy. Really, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I think it is fucked up that Ethan knows that he has significantly more wealth than all of the people that he targets and attacks, that he gets to get away with doing what he does. And if he retracts his statement and admits, which we read the entire letter.
Love.
I'll probably be posting the letter online for people who'd like to read it. But if he wants to retract and he is open to retracting, I will happily refund all of this. But I will be posting it on Twitter. I'll be posting this link on Twitter and everything. But yeah, the website is ethankleinlied.com. So welcome, everybody. We were talking about the Instagram stories that he's been making, which have been insane. So are my posts criticizing the Israeli government for not putting the hostages first, Hasbara, or was it when I insisted that giving aid to Gaza was the right thing to do, or when I called out the plan to forcibly remove Palestinians from Gaza in a full op-ed in February? This is my other favorite thing, by the way. In that debate that Ethan had with Sam Cedar, where he shows Sam Cedar the most lukewarm pro-Palestine clip and says, anyways, people are so mad at me because of this. And it's like, what? What the fuck are you this is people aren't mad at you because you said that Israel's committing a genocide. People are mad at you because of all the other shit that you've done. It's the same shit here. Just because you say one pro-Palestine comment, it doesn't magically absolve you of all the terrible shit that you've said. Good meme format. You are a victim of sexual violence. You have forensic evidence. And then this is the next one. When trying to talk about how, hey, you can take individual victims seriously and you can listen to them when they talk about their experiences of sexual abuse and violence, which I have said before, the women who have come out to talk about their experience, I've said I believe them. I believe that rape happened on October 7th. I've said this since fucking day one. If you're trying to prove that there is mass systemic rape, that rape was intentionally used as a form of punishment by Hamas on October 7th, you're going to need something more than just circumstantial evidence and, well, this person saw this person who told them about this person. When you're trying to prove something as big as mass systemic rape, an investigation needs to be done for such a massive claim like that. Individuals speaking about it, yeah, of course. I believe those people. There was evidence of single cases, but not mass systemic rape. Shout out to the first responders bungling evidence collection. Not to mention the fact that, like, Israel benefits from, like, muddying the waters as much as possible. So they will talk about the rapes that happened on October 7th and say that there was mass systemic rape. And when there's a UN report, they are incapable of producing evidence for the claim that there was mass systemic rape. And then they point at hostages and say, well, the hostages are getting raped. And it's like, wait. Okay, one thing at a time. We can get to the hostages next. We're talking about October 7th. One thing at a time. But they benefit from muddying the water so that, like, oh, well, you're saying that there wasn't. Well, what about all the hostages? How could you do this? You fucking love rape. And it's like, wait. We're the ones that love it, but Israel had, like, pro-rape protests and marches? What the fuck are we talking about here? And, like, anyone who's been on the internet long enough, anyone who was here during Gamergate era, you know people who know the origin story of Tim Pool, and one of the things that pushed him into the trajectory that he eventually fell into was going to Sweden and saying, sorry, I got distracted for a second. Going into tweeting and saying like, isn't it really unsafe because of all the North Africans here? Isn't it really unsafe because of all the... Do you guys remember this era of like Gamergate? It was like during the time of Gamergate where they kept pushing this idea that there's like mass rape by Arabs in Europe. If people missed it, that was a big point of contention. H Bomber Guy had a really good video where he broke all of that down, and he broke down like a lot of the white genocide lies that were pushed by people like Sargon of Akkad, that were pushed by people like Lauren Southern, whatever. And that like misused rape statistics to push this narrative that the Arabs are raping. And it is a stereotype for a reason. And it's used against Arab people for a reason. It is not a coincidence that Israel thought it would be a good PR move to claim that the Arabs are raping. That they're, of course, they would commit mass systemic rape. They're Arab. Of course, they're beheading babies. They're Arab. Because the claim, despite it seeming so absurd, and despite it being absurd, it's to signal to a specific group of people a racist idea. The goal of dehumanization? Yeah. You stupid ass bitch, LMAO. I can tell that you're a well-adjusted adult. In a conversation about how stereotypes impact different groups of people and how this is used to defend genocide, this was the best you came up with? All right. Intellectual juggernaut, I see. All right. But yeah, I do. Jesus Christ. We're almost at 13,000. Okay. Moving back. Wait, I wanted to show you guys something really quick. We never finished this video. I'm sorry. We only got halfway through. And I've said it before. I really actually do feel bad for Ethan Klein fans that are still in there. Can I suggest an alternative to refunding the GoFundMe? Donate to a Palestinian charity? First of all, I think that would be against GoFundMe's rules. Second, I would much rather that if Ethan Klein issues a retraction, that I would refund all that money and we would do a charity for either PCRF, or I'll speak to a friend of mine who is Palestinian and is more well-informed on which charities are the best to donate to. So I would refund it, and then we would do a nice charity stream. Maybe bring on a couple people, have some fun, watch some fun videos, and fundraise for that. Can we restart this video? Yeah, sorry. Sorry about cutting it so abruptly, and then I forgot to come back. It was a Hassan-level pause.
Coming from someone who went into the...
What kind of fun videos? What if we watched Ethan Klein's old content? Went back and watched like Vape Nation or something. That'd be pretty funny.
Coming from someone who went into the Hassan and Ethan debate, being on Ethan's side, and came out of the debate in a full 180 and will be canceling my paid membership, I feel like a fucking idiot. Ethan has
Ethan's old
pulled
content is
the
TOSLOL.
victim card so well. Ethan begged for this debate for how long? And he didn't debate. He got angry anytime Hassan was making a point, said that the audience was going to get bored. This is what we came for, Ethan. And I'm going to sit here and watch the full 5 hours while you make a fucking fool of yourself. You look so dumb. And it's so disheartening knowing that the crew is stuck. Yeah, they can choose to leave, but they have spent years of their lives in this profession. And what are they even supposed to do now? They leave. And where are they going to go? Who's going to want to give them an opportunity now being associated with Ethan? Dan has been there for how fucking long? AB and Lena, who are just, you can tell that they are all such amazing people. And they're fucking stuck. And the hate that gets thrown their way is disgusting. Because what the fuck would you do in that situation? Go from making, I'm sure, the amount of money that they make to going and working a fucking...
And it's like, I think a lot of people's sympathy is running dry for AB, especially, oh my God, after those videos. I just want you guys to know, I watched part of AB's video and I literally, I couldn't finish it. I was like, dude, fuck, man. Cameron Casey, thanks. And also, yeah, I give some empathy or some sympathy to the person making this TikTok. She just changed her mind on Ethan. The criticism for the clue is going to be a slower burn. Yeah. Because I think there are people like Dan who it's not complicit. It's explicit participation. And there are a lot of other people where it's like Olivia, I think is a good example where she literally doesn't speak at all. Unless it's a fun topic. Like there have been multiple episodes I feel like that I've watched where she didn't say anything because all of it was just about Hassan. I've been pretty forgiving on the crew, maybe unreasonably, but the Bad Empanada video on AB was very convincing. I can't lie. Oh my God, the apartment tour video. The apartment tour. Dude, like, it was very tone deaf.
16 months, no brain rot.
Can I be honest with you guys? The thing for me with AB where I'm just like, I just can't engage with it at all. Like, it's just too brutal to look at. It's the way that AB has treated Anthony from the Do Not Worry podcast. Where I think there are certain things that are very like, I'm not talking about the barbarian comment. I don't even care about that. That's not relevant. The context, whatever, it's not relevant. It's the fact that like Anthony's crime was agreeing with Mike from PA. And Mike said basically, like, you're fucking complicit. Like, this is unacceptable behavior. Like, you are on board on all this shit, right? And I think that reasonably could leave a bad taste in people's mouths, especially Arab people who, like, you see like a white guy talking about shit and he can be right, but it feels like you don't particularly enjoy watching a white person lecture on any other group of people's culture or like, it's like hearing white people be like, well, maybe the black people should simply blah, blah, blah. And I'm not saying that they're exactly the same. I'm not at all saying that. Mike is very informed. He fights for the Palestinian people. He uses his platform for that. 100%. We're big Mike enjoyers here. But I can understand AB seeing that and being like, what the fuck does this white guy think he's doing? Talking about me, talking about my people, whether or not I'm an embarrassment to my Lebanese heritage. That, like, I can understand that leaves a bad taste in your mouth. That, understandably, I think that can leave a bad taste in your mouth. It's to use an analogy about Bill Maher. Bill Maher has become this like unbelievable caricature of a centrist where he's like, I'm a centrist. I'm a centrist. I target everyone. What? So I had dinner with the President Trump and now I'm a right winger? This is crazy. I'm a centrist. I'm a centrist. And when you reserve all of your criticism and all of your hatred and all of your anger towards just the left, what does that signal to everybody else? In the same vein, the fact that like AB went so hard on Anthony, the Arab dude, the guy who actually fucking lives in Lebanon, who has to deal with airstrikes in Lebanon, that you went so hard on Anthony, calling him Milhouse, being a huge asshole, and then saying like, oh, you know, like, I'm sure the Zionists love your form of Arab or whatever. It's like, dude. And then when it comes to Mike, he's like, yeah, whatever, Mike, you're a loser. It's like, damn, you have so much energy for the other Arabs that you feel like aren't behaving correctly. But then when it comes to like white guy Mike, you're just like, yeah, he's an idiot. And then you move on. Like
AB is
when
one
I
of the
see
most
that,
insecure people ever.
when I see that and I see the way that you attack people who criticize you differently, and you save a lot of the criticism and a lot of the anger towards the Arab guy who's actually hypercritical of you and your boss and all these other things, it puts a bad taste in my mouth. I don't like it. I thought that it was I thought it was weird. I thought it was fucking weird, dude. AB had more smoke for Anthony than any and all of Ethan's Hasbara combined. That was the thing that frustrated me. That was the thing that frustrated me. You got so much smoke for the Lebanese man and not anyone else? Fuck, dude. I don't like that. They can't even use his name. Also, yeah, them calling him like Milhouse. Is that not whatever? I don't know. I don't know. Been monitoring your demand situation. I'm a lawyer. I think you're making a bit of a mistake as your actions and inability to prove a damages component of the required elements of your suit to succeed will unfortunately leave you stuck. You also open yourself up to discovery, which I think will be an issue. Just my 2 cents. Wait, who? Who asked, dude? Who fucking asked? Second, you clearly didn't even fucking read the demand letter. And you're clearly not a lawyer. You just probably asked ChatGPT. It's libel per se. Damages are significantly less important for libel per se. I don't know why you're coping and telling everybody, like, I'm actually a lawyer. I know better than the lawyer that you spent hours talking with. No, I'm just kidding, guys. This is Ethan Klein's lawyer. He's trying to get me to back off. He's like, oh, fuck, Ethan. What did I tell you about blaming her for CBS? I'll go in her chat and, like, try and convince her to drop it. I'm actually a lawyer. That guy's a moron. Oh, Jesus. All right. Anyways, yeah, the apartment tour and then mentioning that it was 4.2K and that you got a dog. It's like, dude, oh God. It'd be like, as someone who is really trying, I've been trying since fucking day one. You don't have to fucking believe me. It's fine. If you want to shit on me, you can do it. I don't care. I'm not gonna shit on you back. I'm not gonna be I'm not gonna be rude about my criticism. I'm just gonna state my criticism the way that I feel that a lot of other people feel. People want to defend you. They want to be on your side. When you make a video about your apartment tour that costs 4.2K a month in LA, and you're wearing, like, I don't know, an expensive watch, I'm not sure, and you just got a new dog, and dogs are famously not necessarily cheap. I didn't get a cat. I mean, cats are way less of a hassle, And I didn't get a cat until I felt very financially comfortable. So getting the dog is a signal of like financial comfort. And you're to other people who want to defend you like me, they see that and they see like, yeah, I'm profiting off of my job where I agree with my boss who does these terrible things and lies about people and doesn't care. Like I just, if I was AB and I'm sitting there and I'm watching like Ethan Klein making these jokes about having sex with, calling Anissa to meet her at a hotel, then he like quickly shifts the joke to be like, no, because I'm gonna have sex with Ian, and then because she's the cuck. Like that you guys are friends, or that you guys ever were friends. I don't know your current relationship. Okay, I don't know. And you're just gonna sit there while this person says all this fucked up shit. And then you're gonna make a video talking about how much, like, oh, you're doing so well financially. It's like, fuck me, dude. That looks so cold. That looks ice cold. $5 not a lot. That's what I can help with right now. Thanks. Thank you. I don't know why you're typing this in here, chatter, when you should be typing it to Ethan Klein, who originally claimed that mass rapes weren't happening in Israeli prisons. I'm sorry, the UN report did not show any mass systemic rape on October 7th. If you don't like it, you can go take it up with the UN, unless you think that the UN is Hamas run, in which case I think you might just be fried. All right, I want to finish this video.
Fucking regular 9 to 5. Ethan this whole time has been doing All Lives Matter in front of our face. And there's still people who their eyes weren't opened during that debate. And it's crazy to me. But I guess I can see how, because it took me this fucking long to realize. So I really do hope that a creator out there eventually has it in their heart to give his amazing crew a chance and an opportunity to get the fuck out.
Yeah, I mean, it was, and the sad thing is like a lot of these people are people who've been around for years and years and years, and so many of these people have left over the past 2 years. Because they just don't want to be involved with this shit, man. It's a little late. His crew fucking sucks. Sorry. Listen, unfortunately have like, I still feel bad. I still feel the empathy for the people that are in those positions. Not for Dan. Dan can suck my dick, okay? He's actively engaging in the lies. And he's being like, oh, yeah, she did. Yeah, she lied. Yeah. No, all these people deserve it. Yeah, like, fucking, he's participating. He's getting his fucking bag, dude. I don't fucking care. But, okay, I wanted to get back to this soft take video. Wait, stop. No. By the time I clicked on the chatter, they were already banned. You're all terrible people. I'm not on anyone's side. So brave that you would you wrote something so brave in a Twitch chat. Wow. Everyone clap. Oh my God, he's so brave. He didn't feel like actually looking into anything and deciding which party was more at fault. So instead, he was brave and said, I'm not on anyone's side. Okay, you're right. You're so right, King.
balloons. Like, I feel like every old person on a mobility scooter, they always have this like personalized touch to it.
Absolutely.
And now we got ours.
Right.
To have shifted into
Huh?
someone who appears more vocal than thoughtful.
I feel like now I can really ride it. You know, we got the flags and the balloons. Like, I feel like every old person on a mobility scooter, they always have this like personalized touch to it.
Absolutely.
And now we got ours.
Right.
To have shifted into someone who appears more vocal than thoughtful.
Adam McIntyre needs to just like disappear. Yeah, Sam Cedar, another one I'm ready to burn. I know, you already did most of the work. I'm just...
And also someone who seems to donate money to a slop tuber who hosts a show called Ultimate Review that picks
Our best friend, Nicholas Eat Oreo.
apart sexual allegations. And also LOLCal Live, a podcast co-hosted by Keemstar, someone that previously made her life hell. But first, who is Hila actually? She's the co-host of a podcast with her husband who's turned arguing with everyone into a full-time sport while she contributes to the show by slowly rotating in her chair. She's the founder and CEO of Teddy Fresh, a streetwear brand with a questionable theme.
Oh my God, Sean DeBlack, thank you so much for the raid. What the hell? Thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi. Hi, raiders. Welcome. EthanKleinLive.com. SDA raid. Yeah. Wait, I was gonna say something. Forgot what I was gonna say. Fuckers. Okay, sorry, get back to it.
Appears to sometimes allegedly borrow designs. Teddy Fresh also has a good causes section on
your insistent usage of this term following 1 minute ago makes me think that you're a double agent that's trying to prove that everybody else's audience is cruel and sexist secretly. Tell Ethan Klein you're going to have to try a little bit harder, and you're going to need to make at least 7 other burners to get away with it. The craziest thing, by the way, about Teddy Fresh, genuinely the most insane thing about Teddy Fresh is like, they did it. They did something that I think they were like one of the first and one of the most famous instances of a content creator sort of becoming more mainstream with what they make. Like Teddy Fresh was iconic. And they easily, because the thing with content creation that's kind of tough is you can't outlive, you kind of always have to keep working to make more money, right? And with a good company, you should be able to continue an income flow even after you're not streaming or even after you don't make content anymore. And they were the first really to do it in a big way. Teddy Fresh being this constant income source for them, even after their content, was dope. Like it's actually incredible. It's really cool. Like every job, yes, what I mean is that most jobs, like normal jobs, you can kind of work like, not all jobs, normie jobs, office jobs, you can work them until you're like 60, 70, fucking 80. Someone who's worked office jobs, you kind of just clock in. It doesn't matter what your mood is. It doesn't matter how tired you are, how much sleep you've gotten. You're like, oh, just fucking send some emails. You don't have to be 100% on your game every single day or whatever. And with content, people can tell when you don't care about what you make. You have to actually really genuinely believe in what you make and love what you make. But you can work so many jobs and you don't have to fucking like your job at all. Because it doesn't matter. And you can work the job for decades and decades and decades. With content creation, one, you never know if you're going to fall off. If like you did unboxings for like a decade and then suddenly nobody gives a fuck about unboxings. Algorithms change. Certain content formats become more popular. This is a big one with TikTok. Short form content has like taken over so hardcore that people who make longer form videos just like haven't been able to like rebuild themselves and remake themselves, right? So, or like, let's say you're a Twitch streamer and you play video games, right? Like, fuck, dude. What if everybody stops playing Overwatch and then you're fucked, right? There's a lot of things with content that are uncertain and you don't know if you'll be able to stick around forever. And most content creators, you're not reasonable. It's not reasonable that most content creators will be doing content for like 4 or 5 decades. Still better than a service job? When did I say otherwise? This is a pancake moment. I have literally said service workers deserve the right to tase customers. A service worker can spit on my food in front of me, call me a vile fucking human being, and I'll be like, so 20 or 25% tip. 30, okay. I have so much respect for service workers, like so much respect. It's not mutually exclusive to have a lot of respect for service workers and to want them. I mean this genuinely. I know this is like a meme clip or whatever. I mean it genuinely, that I think if you work food service and a lot of customer service jobs, you should be allowed to have a taser. And you should be allowed to tell someone if they're being too annoying, you say like strike 1, strike 2. And if they hit strike 3 and they still haven't left the store and they're still being annoying, you should be able to tase them. I fucking hate customers. I fucking hate them. And I only worked one service job for a couple months, and it was the worst, one of the worst experiences of my life. Also, and then there's your fucking coworkers that suck dick and your boss that sucks dick. Sorry. I'm very passionate about how much respect I have for service workers, especially food service workers. Office workers, on the other hand, as someone who worked a lot of office jobs, dude, you can be so fucking exhausted. You can be like 5% there and you're like, oh, well, oh yeah, I'm at work. I'm sorry, the number of people in here that play Dwarf Fortress while they're watching my stream, while they're at work somehow, those aren't construction workers. They're not food service workers. They're office workers. All right? That's just facts, man. That's just factually correct. All right? So at no point did I say any comment about an online job being harder than a service job. I've never said that. In my experience, I've worked office jobs, and in my experience, streaming and all the stuff that comes with streaming, the concerns about doxing or swatting, the concerns about like harassment, the fact that you have to be constantly like, you know, on your shit or you're gonna get clipped or whatever, all these aspects, in my experience working in an office, my office job was easier than this. My personal opinion, maybe your office work is really difficult and your office work is harder than my streaming job. I don't know. I don't work your job. I'm only speaking about my experience in the work field. Only about my job. I'm not making a claim about anyone else's job. I'm just comparing one type of labor that I did to another type of labor that I did. Okay? Call center job is an office job and it's hell. I mean, I had a call center job for a little bit, and low key, I had like the script down, and I would put Netflix on my phone. I worked really long shifts at this job too. It was really annoying, but it was fine. Because I would show up exhausted and fucking stay up all night playing video games. And then I would show up at work, I'd put Netflix on my phone, put it in front of my laptop, and then I'd call people. And then when people would pick up, I'd like pause the video and be like, hi, so I was calling about your car's extended warranty. I'm kidding. I was never calling about people's extended car warranty. I was calling about other stupid shit. It's still work and it's still exhausting and people scream at you and all this other stuff, and that sucks. I'm not claiming that it's easy job. I'm not claiming that it's an easy job. It is very mentally draining. I'm just saying I personally appreciated that I could just fucking turn on Netflix, show up fucking on like 2 hours of sleep, and I felt fine doing it. If anything, I think people who've done call center jobs, you know how it is really tiring to use your voice all day. So you have probably a much better understanding of it. There's pros and cons. I don't want to get into this fucking debate and then get clipped a million times. And people are like, guys, so what you're saying is streamers are it's the most difficult job ever. It's like, no, food service workers have the most difficult job, okay? Obviously, come on. And then people who have to fucking clean up popcorn because the kids are screaming chicken jockey. That's up there. That's like top 5, okay? Moving on. Okay, all I'm saying, different pros and cons, and more importantly, got fucking stun locked as shit. Wait. Wait. Why did I even bring this up? I got so stomached, I forgot why I brought this up. Oh, you can't do content for like 5 decades in the way that you can work in like an office for 5 decades. Maybe that's just my opinion. Maybe other people disagree. I don't know. I don't know. The creativity aspect for it, for me, I don't feel like I could do content for 5 decades. And most content creators, they like retire after a decade or two because it's very creative heavy. I mean, even Derma said like, I'm not going to do this forever. Like, I can't do it forever. Because again, the creative aspect of it is like, it's a very different type of job labor than like working a service job, or like working a whatever type of job, right? All of that, okay, all of that was to say, Cutie said that too. A lot of content creators have said that. They've said that like,
Hey,
I don't think I could do it for more than a
dumb
decade.
question, because I don't know how much it costs to sue someone, but say you don't end up needing to use all of the legal fund donations for the lawsuit. Do you know what you'll do with the excess? Like the extra going to a Palestinian charity or something. Again, sorry if this is a dumb question.
What I would probably do is see if there's a way to contact GoFundMe and say like, the percentage that was used, can that percentage be refunded to everyone? So like, if you donated $10 and I used 80% of the GoFundMe, $2 would be refunded back to you, right? Anywho, that would be in my opinion, the best way to do something like that. Ethan Klein and Hila Klein were fucking trendsetters, I think, on showing how successful a merch line could be. That they created Teddy Fresh, a company that was so fucking successful, and that they set themselves up to be able to retire from content. That they were like, I don't know if we can do Vape Nation videos until we're fucking 60 or 70. And like, I don't know if we can keep doing this podcast until we're 70. The fact that they set themselves up to the point where they could have this company that would keep generating money, that they could use this company to help other creators sell merch.
I could see Hassan yelling about politics until he's Bernie Sanders' age.
Okay, that's true. That's true. But he's a freak. Hassan's a fucking freakazoid, dude. He's not well. And they threw away Teddy Fresh. And they threw it away. And because they wanted to fucking fight this stupid social fight. Oh my God.
On their site, proudly listing charities they claim to support, which is a great thing. I appreciate them for doing. However, let's just say that I found out that not everything on that list checks out, which I will get into later on in the video. She loves to draw, present her unique clothing style on social media, and she is also someone that gets particularly vocal when criticism of Israel arises.
Worst stuff, Matt. It's not like Israel's going to do a precision strike on Hassan. They don't fucking,
Yeah,
but it is dangerous. It's a war zone.
Sure,
They
it's
may.
a war zone.
They may.
But what?
He was in the running for anti-Semite of the year. They may.
Nah,
And
it's
I
still
don't think
different
you guys
world.
understand
Yeah, it's a
Israel. It
different
doesn't work
world.
like that.
They're not.
And this is where she gets quite a lot of backlash. It's not because she's from Israel.
Which, by the way, it was crazy that we have proof that Israel targets journalists. And she's like, no, I don't think it would work like that. They wouldn't target him. Not that Hassan claims that he's a journalist, but functionally, I think the Israeli government views him no different than they view Al Jazeera, which is you're trying to make Israel look bad.
Israel, or that she served in the IDF. Well, actually that could be reason for some. It's mostly because of the dehumanizing language she uses for Palestinians and her relentless defense for Israel. Also, I just want to be clear, I don't want to make Hila responsible for Ethan's flip-outs, but you cannot be dismissed as a silent bystander while Ethan spreads false information. And when she does decide to chime in, it's either about
Just donated. Oh, thank you. Classic Bassmaster. Wait. I don't think I've ever seen this. Hila calls her stylist peasants.
My own whole room.
Yeah, that's a classroom. I know, the steamers and the lights, it's gonna be...
And the peasants are here.
Oh
my God.
I quite like this as something different, like if we have the fire stuff then...
It's giving, and the monkeys are dancing for him. When she said that. Oh no, I didn't mean to close that. Dude, H3 fans are so brain rotted. They'll be like, it's a joke. Why is it that like all of your jokes are you punching down?
ADF. Well, actually, that could be reason for some. It's mostly because of the dehumanizing language she uses for Palestinians and her relentless defense for Israel. Also, I just want to be clear, I don't want to make Hila responsible for Ethan's flip-outs, but you cannot be dismissed as a silent bystander while Ethan spreads false information. And when she does decide to chime in, it's either about Hassan, defending Israel, or defending their takes. Took one look at her and assumed that she's an undocumented migrant worker that can't speak English.
They all go with this narrative that it was his mom. It's just unbelievable.
But what about them talking about Hassan going to Gaza?
Was like, I'm thinking of going to Gaza.
Until I found out they don't have like a 5-star suite for me with private security waiting there.
I would have bet my goddamn house that he would never step foot in Gaza. It's insanely pathetic. Somebody please.
Well, and it's the same thing. To bring it back to the song, just because, but it's kind of.
Not the Wojak. Not the Wojak.
Well, and it's the same thing. To bring it back to the song, just because, but it's kind of the same thing. Like I was thinking about going to Gaza.
Yeah.
Like,
sorry, I'm sorry.
Song, just because, but it's kind of the same thing. Like,
okay, I'm done.
I was thinking about going to Gaza.
Yeah.
Like,
I also wanted to give
Sorry, guys, I'm not going to this war zone unless they can.
So much to the point that they started fantasizing how his visit to Gaza could look like.
They managed to keep the hostages alive. You can go be in the tunnels, I'm sure. You'll be safe
he's a
there.
high-value hostage for Hamas. He's an American citizen.
Right.
They've kidnapped Arabs and Muslims before.
If he's actually just worried about the Israeli side, like seriously, they can take him to the tunnels and he'll be safe.
If he entered through Rafah, which is the Egyptian crossing, and just went into Gaza like that, I think there's probably a more likelihood that he'd be kidnapped by Hamas than precision striked by Israel.
Yeah.
And then pedal it all back.
It's literally just a silly joke.
We're just criticizing you.
It's
Like, I'm sorry. It's so insane to me, by the way, that anytime they say anything fucked up, it's a joke. And anytime anyone else says something, there's no way they could have been joking ever. Obviously, all of our ops, they're always serious all the time. I hope you're actually prepared to fight this lawsuit because we all know Ethan won't retract shit. I mean, you're not. Someone in chat posted this. The new narrative, I guess, in the subreddit, in the H3 subreddit. Ethan should retract because that would be dunking on Noah, who didn't retract anything. Ethan should retract for Denims. I'm positive that everything she cites has extended context where they clarify explicitly what they're saying she's responsible for. That being said, I know Ethan is prone to hyperbole and definitely has said a few technically incorrect things about her, probably the ones listed in complaint. Hyperbole. If Ethan reads the complaint on stream and says, no, I don't literally think you called CPS, this statement of mine makes it sound that way. I retract. I don't stand by that. That has never been the real point. That's never been the real point. That's why he said, I'm the villain of this video. And I'm basically endorsing, I am endorsing this because it's 100% of my chat. He would make Noah, who refused to do anything of the sort, look like a moron. I agree. A quick retraction would settle her silly legal stunt. And then honestly, they will probably just move on and forget about her because she's no one. Denims did CPS. She did CPS. But I do want to fight him. I absolutely do. And I am fine with either or, okay? I am fine with him retracting. And I'm also fine with fighting him. And that's why I really am appreciative of everyone who has donated to the GoFundMe. We're at $15,000. Holy shit. God damn. Quick tip, Denims, go to the H3 sub, search Denim CPS that you probably already have. Oh, I haven't. I've said it before, but for anyone who missed it, for legal purposes, if you've seen comments claiming that I did CPS, that I caused CPS, that my community caused CPS, whether it's on his subreddit, whether it's on Leftovers subreddit, whether it's on Reddit at all, Twitter, Instagram, any platform, please don't interact with those people. Please don't respond to them. You guys know how I feel about tapping the glass. Do not tap the glass. Don't reply to them. Don't comment. But if you would like to, and you see any of these things, screenshot them. If you go to the Discord, there's a channel. It's called Ethan Klein Lied. And you can post the screenshot there. And that's just to have like a good record of everybody who was involved and how many people he has effectively, deceived into thinking this lie. So yeah, and the donation link is at the website ethankleinlied.com. I've said it, and I've also said so in the GoFundMe, but if he retracts and he's willing to be the bigger person and get on his YouTube channel and get on his live show and retract those statements and say that he knows that I never called CPS and that I was never responsible for it and I didn't condone it, and he gives a full retraction, I will happily refund every single person who donated. Screenshot and URL too. Yeah, that's a good call. Thank you. Okay.
It's literally just a silly joke.
It comes across like a fucking pager joke.
It comes across as a pager joke. Hassan should go to Gaza. And if he doesn't, he should be severely judged by his audience for being a total fucking coward.
It's part of why I judge him. He doesn't know shit about that conflict. He's never been to Gaza, never been to Israel. He doesn't know shit about it.
No, he doesn't.
He does not. But he talks like with such authority. Oh my God. You would think he's been there like 5 times since October 7th, right?
This small bit of premium content is just a tiny part of a larger pattern. Hila's reasoning is just as inconsistent. Let's try and understand Hila's logic here. Hassan can't understand the conflict because he hasn't been there, as if lived experience is the only way to grasp reality. If we were to even go with this logic, then why does she not know about what's going on with the Tesla stock and Elon Musk's actions despite living in the very country where it's all happening?
Tesla's getting creamed lately. Like
they're down like 40%.
The fuck out of them and like bombing, they're firebombing their factory and shit.
USA.
Like,
I'm a little like, I don't know if I'm out of the loop, but did something specific happen that all of a sudden this is happening?
I mean, that's quite an integral part of the ongoing events in the United States and its political landscape, while selling anti-Elon shirts in her own shop. And by the way, if you're watching this and thinking, oh, how come all the soft take can do is bring up Hassan? And well, the answer to that is simple. I don't.
Since he admitted to not knowing who did the call during his debate with Hassan, does that mean you have a defamation case? Because he said it was you before. I mean, I have a defamation case because it's libel per se, because he's accusing me of committing a crime, which is falsely calling or calling for someone else to call CPS. Worse than that is the fact that he's said on March 11th, you acknowledged Denims has denounced herself or anyone in her community making contact with CPS. There's a clip of him saying, oh yeah, I know she technically said don't call CPS, but she was being really mean to me. So it's worse than that, actually.
They do. What am I supposed to talk about when almost all of their content is referring back to Hassan? I just follow the storyline they keep writing. But anyway.
It's really interesting how we just cannot criticize him.
And then
whatever we dare to say about him in a criticism manner, we are a threat. We are backing genocide. We're children killers. Myself, that's what they say about me. It's like, no, I'm just criticizing you. I'm allowed to criticize you and still want good stuff to happen for Palestine. Like, I can do both.
It was really hard for me to find those moments where she shows that she wants good things to happen for Palestine. The ones I found are in this video. But let's talk about the labels Hila deals with. And could it be that they come from Hila's patterns on the H3 podcast? Patterns of deflecting, dismissing, and downplaying Israel's actions.
It's so complicated.
Yeah.
From their perspective, it's like,
these guys.
But they go specifically to people who they know are terrorists, and they have a history of that stuff, and they know they have guns.
And the thoughtful criticisms Hila shares about her self-declared enemies looks something like this.
What is this frame, bro? Why are you just like in the corner?
It's absolutely
Frame
terrible.
your shit up, man. He changed his background.
I hate
AB
it.
would love that. Although,
Hey, Hassan, I
looks
hate
like a
your
pet
new
store,
background.
frankly. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. I think his room looks better with like.
What the hell? Huh? Your background actually looks really lame and you should change it. Yeah, it looks really stupid and dumb. You disavowed calling of CBS after the call, but do you think you should have disavowed it while you were watching Bad Empanadas videos and some of chat was bringing it up? No disrespect, just honestly curious. I break it down in my video on my YouTube channel, which it only has 40K views, so most people who believe the CPS lie, they haven't seen my video on it. But the vast majority of the comments about CPS, first of all, happened not when I was watching Bad Empanadas video, they happened when I was watching Ethan Klein talking about his family having Giardia on his podcast. One important detail. Second, I don't blame you for thinking that it was more chat messages than it actually was, but I implore you to go back and actually watch the clip that he includes and see how fast this chat is moving. It's like over the course of 5,000 messages, there were like 12 that had the term CPS. If you can catch in a sea of like minimum 3 messages a second, and you're catching every single CPS or every single message about CPS while you're trying to talk on stream and read stuff on stream, like that's not a reasonable standard that Ethan Klein would hold himself to. I just saw on Twitter you're the GOAT Denims. Oh fuck! What tweet did you see? Oh, okay. Anywho, back to the video.
Makes no sense.
Or hear about Matt Lieb.
It's disgraceful to participate in a snark page. It is.
And I think it's
Ethan
disgraceful as a
is allowed to point it out.
And also
And
as
if that's too much for you, maybe get off the internet.
Right.
And
or at least get
maybe
love the
don't
sound
work for a
effect.
reputable company like Red and Link. You don't deserve to work there.
Or this very reasonable criticism of Sam Cedar.
Sam Cedar, another one I'm ready to burn.
By the way, Sam Cedar agrees with me. I just saw a clip of him the other day being like,
And then like after the fact, after the Hassan debate went so poorly, now they're like, actually, Sam Cedar sucks and we don't like him. What damages are you claiming? Because it's libel per se, financial damages are less important. Reputational damages are important. And someone like Philip DeFranco making a video that he did, misconstruing the situation in the way that he did, that's one such example of like reputational damage, right? Or hundreds of people every single day coming in and saying, you did CPS, messages on my Instagram account, messages on the H3 sub, on his YouTube channel, on whoever's YouTube channel. These are all instances or evidence of reputational harm. So financial harm is a little bit less important when you're accusing someone of a crime. In this case, the crime is falsely calling for CPS to visit someone's home.
saying that he's too state.
I don't know.
Too state. I was like,
I agrees with you because he also like protects her son at all costs.
You're ugly and you're dumb and you're not funny.
Hila and Ethan have repeatedly stated that they oppose Netanyahu and his government.
So here's what I'll say about Israel. Listen, this isn't the first time I've said it, and I'll say it and many more times. The cabinet is...
Speaking for Philly D, the episode after he talked to you about in the comment section, would that be beneficial for the Discord as well? Oh, that would be a good place to go. Again, like I really do not want anyone to touch the glass or tap the glass. Please do not interact with those comments. Please don't reply to these people. I don't want anyone brigading. I really don't. But if you happen to see these comments, I would appreciate having them on hand. From where I'm standing, it feels like Ethan Klein started going really hard into Philip DeFranco and being like, "You're not taking my side. You're not." He did basically what he did to Anissa and Ian, and I think Philly D is so normie that he just didn't want the smoke with H3, with Ethan Klein. And I think he's afraid of Ethan Klein. So I think he just caved and was like, that's crazy. Okay, leave me alone, please. And I think that's why he kind of misstepped and misplayed the way that he did with Anissa and Ian, because he thought that they were cowards and they were just going to like back off immediately, and that didn't happen. But I'm hoping, listen, I'm not trying to make enemies. Okay, I dislike the way that Philip DeFranco covered that. But hopefully, maybe he'll cover the fact that I sent a letter to him. And if he doesn't, he doesn't. I'm not going to force him. I'm not going to become Ethan. I'm not going to fucking start harassing people that I don't like, or harassing people that are acting out of fear, right? I don't want to become that person. So I hope he, fucking posts about the demand letter. That would be really cool of him. But if he doesn't, whatever, it is what it is.
Run by genocidal maniacs. They're led by Netanyahu, who should resign in disgrace and go to prison for being a war criminal. He's made a coalition of the most radically conservative freaks that don't represent, by the way, the majority of Israelis.
They voted against Netanyahu.
You mentioned that we lived in Israel and we voted against Bibi. Even Ethan, we both voted.
Yeah, I was in, I think, 2 elections, and both time I voted against him.
So, what do you guys want from us?
And here is them showing empathy for Palestine and being pro two-state solution.
The problem is the extremes on both sides. The Orthodox Jewish people cause trouble, and the terrorists.
Well,
who do all the terror attacks on the other side, they cause the trouble. But I feel like if you ask,
I like how I'm so happy that he had that conversation with Sam Cedar, because it made him look like a total fucking moron, dude. Jesus, it made him look so stupid. Where Sam Cedar, besides the really big point about how Christian evangelicals are the biggest Zionists, ignoring that for just 2 seconds, because that was another really big point that he drove home. The other thing that was really important that I think Sam Cedar did was talk about how Israelis, when you ask them, the people who live in Israel, when you ask them the response to October 7th, what do you think? I think it was 39% say they think the response was appropriate, and 34% say Israel hasn't gone far enough. 73% of people in Israel that were polled about Israel's response to October 7th think it's either appropriate or they should do more. This idea that it's just the extremists on both sides. It's like the 73% of extremists that live in Israel, what the fuck?
Most people, especially my age, they'll be like, just do whatever it takes. Just
they don't
do
care.
It. Split it. Do the two-state solution. Do whatever it takes.
And by the way, I find it quite fascinating to see how their public statements and attitude has shifted over time.
A lot of drug problems.
The regular people there are, everyone feels bad for them, even on the Jewish side. And they're just.
What can you do?
They're just stuck there.
On the surface, they seem to present themselves as neutral voices, people who acknowledge the suffering on both sides, distancing themselves from the more extreme Zionist rhetoric.
Yeah, Israel is bombing the fuck out of Gaza right now, which is a horrible humanitarian tragedy that's happening.
But if that's the case, why do so many see them as pro-Israel, anti-Palestine, or even Zionist apologists? They themselves cannot grasp as to why. Could it be because of Ethan and Hila saying things like they want to travel to Israel to show how beautiful the country is and how diverse its people are, all in the midst of a genocide?
We're planning to go to Israel in June with my parents and all the kids. It's going to be such a great trip. And I'm actually really excited to go there. I want to show you guys.
You haven't been there in so long.
What I want to do is show you guys how I see Israel, because you don't see that. When you listen to Hassan and you hear all these fucking mega lefties talking about it like it's some super racist, crazy, Jim Crow style of society.
And after making jokes about Hassan not going to Gaza for months on end, they kind of seem they want to be a bigger part of their own joke as well.
Currently, we're waiting for a peace
We put
or deal or something to go into effect.
Yeah, we put the visit off while the war is
Because we want
happening.
to come with the kids and
I don't want them to have to deal with sirens and all.
It was actually crazy that he didn't understand the point that others made about how, hey, dude, you talking about how you're gonna go to Israel and how it's so beautiful and amazing in all these ways, while Israel's actively committing fucking war crimes is fucking crazy. And then they're reacting to this fucking content cop in live time and they don't understand the criticism and they fucking button AB. It's like, dude, oh, Jesus.
Seeing all that hearing all that shit, you know?
Or is it Hila's constant IOF apologies instead of finding one critical word about her own service or the IOF in general?
And there's other countries that have mandatory service armies.
Very common.
You're just being racist. If you have a problem with the whole country,
Including,
that's
by the way,
racist.
Turkey has mandatory military service.
Yeah,
Unless you're rich
and
enough
my
to flee the
parents were
country.
not the rich kind that will pay to get me out. But even if they were, they would not agree to that because they think it's important to serve like everybody else in the country. I mean, it's a very selfish move to decide, okay, I'm not going to do it, but everybody else will.
like-
I mean, when you're growing up with constant terror attacks, the army is a necessity.
Yeah. It's just
For
a
one
statement back.
person to decide, I'm not going to do it, is a very selfish decision because
right.
meanwhile you're not doing it, everybody else is doing it and putting their life on hold. Very important years of your personal development, you're putting it on hold to go do this, and it helps nothing with your career afterwards. You finish it, then you start.
First of all, you would also be putting your life on hold because you'd go to jail for refusing mandatory service. And
Can I also just say the false equivalency about refusing mandatory service and paying taxes? Let me let my boy talk.
secondly, if it's selfish to not serve in the military because everyone else is putting their life on hold, then how selfish is it to go along with mandatory service and contribute to the oppression and killing of Palestinian civilians? Hila framing the issue that it's simply about mandatory military service is ignoring the unique and highly controversial.
Not to mention that she has the mandatory service when she has a clip talking about how she was bored and excited to go on this raid to Ramallah against these terrorists in this terrorist city, and the fact that Ethan Klein months later was like, it's an honorable thing to serve in the IDF, and it's good even. It's like, wait, you can't have it both ways, huh? You can't say it's just mandatory service. You can't be mean and also be like, you should serve. Yes, yes, yes. Good, good, good. Serve, serve, serve. It's selfish to not serve. Okay. And then the third point that I wanted to make is dude, let's say in the worst case scenario, which I don't expect most people to do this. I don't know that I would do this. I don't know that most of chat would do this, especially if you've been indoctrinated by Israeli propaganda your whole life. Refusing mandatory service. You would serve time in prison and then you would be free. I'm not saying that that's an easy decision to make. I'm saying that most people wouldn't be able to make that decision given that they are raised in Israeli propaganda. I'm not sure that I would make that decision. I'm not sure that most other people would make that decision. That's very different from not paying taxes. What, you're just not going to pay taxes forever and just live the rest of your life in jail? What? How are these even remotely the same thing? Let's not forget the Taylor Swift Stan account. I love the Taylor Swift Stan account. Have you seen the clip of Ethan Klein dodging his military service? I haven't seen this. I don't know if I would have the moral clarity at 17 to make the choice, but still be defending it at 40. Yeah. So, sorry that I had to be annoying with the way that I presented that and say, like, I don't know that I would be able to. I don't know that most people would be able to, blah, 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 blah. But, like, I just can't get clipped. I refuse. I'm not making it easy for you to clip me anymore. All right? I want the clip to sound weird. Like I was about to say something else. And it was like, and also, all right? You're going to have to work for it, clippers. It's fine to serve in the IDF if you recognize that after the fact what you did is wrong. I don't blame people for being indoctrinated. I mean, we've watched documentaries of ex-IDF members who, in their service, they saw, or even people who were in Israel on birthright, who they saw the state of the settlements and they saw the atrocities being committed, and they took a step back and realized, oh, Jesus fucking Christ, no, actually, I disagree. And a lot of these people now perform like tours in settlements to show people how fucked the West Bank is, that it is an apartheid state. BreakingTheSilence.org. Is this this one might be one of the documentaries that we watched. But anywho.
Controversial role of the Israeli
I can tell this is I like being able to tell who is and who isn't an H3 fan. Girl, you are so cooked. Bitch, he hates women. What are you doing in here?
military in enforcing occupation. While other nations have mandatory military service.
Oh, he didn't dodge. He was exempt for his Tourette's. He just felt the need to perform a tick because the recruiter didn't believe him. Oh, but like also, that's like probably one of the most base things Ethan's ever done. Dodging the IDF mandated service. Like, that's so fucking base. What happened to that guy, dude? Fuck. I think breaking the silence is the previous military people that realize they're wrong and are now trying to show what's actually going on. Okay. I love this chatter as well. I don't think it's worth talking about this anymore. All of this has become personal drama. She could make her happy content and be happy and move on instead of focusing on this. This revenge, the revenge is being happy and not focusing on the guy you hate. You could be free right now. So like, what if I showed up, hypothetical, if I showed up at your job and told everyone that you work with that you falsely call CPS on people, and then I tell your family that you falsely call CPS on people, and then I tell all your friends that you falsely call CPS on people, and you're like, what the fuck is happening? And then when you try and use the legal system to remedy this, I'm like, you should just be happy. You should just be happy and move on. Just be happy and move on. You would, that's what you would say, that you would be fine with that? That would be cool with that. If like your boss, your coworkers, all your friends and family think that you like to rip families away from each other. You like to rip children away from their parents because you're a demented fucking piece of shit. That would be fine with you if everyone that you knew thought that. I'm just making sure you're consistent here. Because you wouldn't be inconsistent, right? You would be happy and be free.
Most do not involve an ongoing military occupation of another population.
Ethan gifted you a new fan. I've never been in a chat that wasn't Hassan's. I'll actually be able to see my messages on the screen. Yeah, Hassan's chat's like a little scary to read. It's a little bit spooky.
Comparing Israel's conscription to countries that also have conscription, such as Switzerland or South Korea, is ignoring a massive difference.
Sorry to stay on this chatter for a second. You're exaggerating because I know you didn't call CPS. We all know that. So you're maliciously spreading a lie, you and everybody else? See, this is what I mean, chat, when I say, like, if you can screenshot these messages, I would really appreciate it. Because I know that this is going to be the next strategy for a lot of these people, which is going to be, oh, see, nobody actually thought that. Nobody actually thought that. No one actually thought that. We were just kidding. I'd rather not have someone following me who's okay with fraudulent CPS calls being made against the family as a tool of target. He didn't mean that, obviously. Right? This person on Twitter, they didn't mean that. Hey, could you go back to selling your titties online? Stop talking about your opinions. They're trash. I look forward to the lawsuit that comes your way for continuing that didn't age well, lies about Ethan's kids, rape denying, trash piece of shit. Please stop. That person was joking. Right? That person was joking. This person was also just, they didn't mean that. You should be in a mental hospital for calling CPS and false accusing people, you cunt. I think if people were saying this to you, like if you showed up at work and this is what your emails looked like and it was from your coworkers and stuff, you'd be like, I'm happy and free. I'm happy and free. I'm not an HD fan. I was new to this channel. You don't need to go off. I understand what you're saying, but okay. You know what? Respect. You know what, chatter? I will take you at your word. I will take you at your word. You said you understand. You didn't continue on this. I didn't know you did this. Or I know you didn't. You know what? I will give anyone respect if they're willing to admit even a little, like, okay, fine, fine. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. All right. Let's watch a little bit more of this.
Difference. And labeling criticism towards the IOF as racist against the whole country is attempting to shut down the conversation. It's just as Hila said.
It's like, if this is your argument, we're never going to be able to talk.
Well, so far in these few clips alone, you mirrored Israeli government rhetoric by portraying refusal to serve as betrayal rather than moral stance, and you framed criticism for joining mandatory service as racism, despite the IOF's well-documented war crimes. But that's not everything. Let's keep going. Hila seems to deny Israel to children.
People are saying Israel does that on the daily, the idea
I don't,
does that on the
that's
daily.
not what I'm talking about. See, that's what you're doing. You're excusing people being burned alive and kids being murdered. You're saying Israel does that on the daily. Now, I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that. So are you in favor of an Iraqi terrorist?
Here's my response to that just by showing the following. An article from 2022 states 2022 to become the deadliest year for Palestinian children in the West Bank in over 15 years. An article from 2023 marks the deadliest year on record for children in the occupied West Bank. This article is about 1 month before the October 7th attacks. Now, it is worth quickly disclosing that the next few articles I'm about to show occurred after she said that she denies this. But Hila never seemed to have changed her mind about this, at least not publicly. An article from 2023, after the 7th of October, more than 3,195 children in 3 weeks. In 2024, the Gaza Strip was recognized as the deadliest place on earth to be a child. And finally, since the breakdown of the ceasefire on the 18th of March 2025, the Gaza Strip has left at least 322 children and 609 injured, constituting a daily average.
Which, by the way, all of these numbers are not, they're underestimations. And it's important to note that these are underestimations. One, they don't necessarily include all of the people and all of the children, women, and men, by the way, who have died of thirst, starvation, infection from a surgery or an amputation without proper medical equipment, people who have died because they lost access to necessary medical equipment that they needed. Like, and it also doesn't account for the suffering. Like, even the people who lived, like, the percentage of, they literally made a new word. Here, can't stop. They made a new word or a new acronym for children who've lost their family and their limbs. For orphans that have been maimed. Like, even a lot of the children who have lived and a lot of the adults who have lived, it doesn't count how much suffering they've gone through and how their life will literally never be the same. So, like, yeah, it makes me mad when I see these really low numbers. Because it's just, I know that this is an underrepresentation.
Average of around 100 children or maimed over the past 10 days, according to an article by UNICEF.
Kids being murdered. You're saying Israel does that on the daily. I'm not denying that. So are you...
This kind of disbelief in what Israel is capable of seems to have rubbed off on her husband, Ethan, who portrays the country in surprisingly positive light.
People are so weird about Israel media because, like, you'll see people all the time being like, even according to Israel media,
These numbers are only confirmed deaths with bodies recovered. It doesn't count bodies that are trapped in the rubble, missing children, etc.
said this happened. But then at the same time, it's like, oh, she reads Israel media, so she's obviously brainwashed and a Zionist. It's like Israel is a free society with free press. It has the whole gambit of
Range
media
of opinions
sources,
in the press.
just like America does. You know what I mean?
Israel seems to have a wide range of media sources. Calling it free press is again comfortably painting Israel in a very nice picture. When you are aware that pressures from the government, military censorship, and violence against journalists are a recurring theme, and then you have Ethan calling Israel a free society here, what could it look like when Ethan, whose wife served in the IOF, comfortably states the opposite of what is widely evident? Freedom of speech, assembly, and the right to protest are enshrined in Israeli law, but are they equally distributed? Reporters Without Borders states Israeli journalists identified as Arab face more intimidation while working. Since the start of the war in Gaza, the authorities have intensified repression against these journalists, as well as against foreign and Israeli journalists who deviate from the government line in their coverage of the war. Organized crime networks try to restrict coverage of their criminal activities, and in the ultra-Orthodox media, women are almost completely excluded. Time. In the deadliest period for journalists in modern history, at least 131 media workers have been killed in the Gaza Strip since the start of Israel's retaliation for the Hamas attacks of October 7, 2023. International media groups are alarmed by Israel's naming 6 Al Jazeera journalists as terrorists. Article 19. Since Israel's war on Gaza began in October 2023, the devastating impact on journalists has been clear. They have been killed in unprecedented numbers, threatened, and harassed. Protecting press freedom remains critical to documenting human rights violations, conveying the voices of Palestinians in both the West Bank and Gaza, and enabling accurate reporting. The Guardian. Jeremy Bowen, the BBC international editor, has accused the Israeli government of blocking journalists from Gaza because of scenes they don't want us to see. Despite all of this, Ethan and Hila continue to paint Israel as a bastion of free expression, and then Hila continues to reinforce a sanitized image of Israel, brushing off any real concerns about press freedom and safety.
I can't get any security assurances against Israel, obviously.
Well, bro, it's not like
Israel that is worried
Look,
about.
it's not like Israel's going to do a precision strike on Hassan. They don't.
Yeah,
but it is dangerous. It's a war zone. Like, I agree, it's dangerous.
Sure, it's a war zone.
They may.
But what?
He was in the running for anti-Semite of the year. They may.
Nah,
I don't think you guys understand.
It's crazy that they just play it off like, no, he should go. It almost makes me, can I be honest? I don't know how you can say this and not understand that it makes it come off like you want Israel to kill him. Like, nobody is fucking delusional enough to think that Israel doesn't target journalists. Like, what do you mean? No, you guys don't understand. Israel would never be evil, except all the times that they were killing unarmed children and unarmed men and women and stopping aid from entering and stopping water and electricity from entering and stopping building and construction supplies and medical supplies and bombing hospitals. And it's like, what?
Yeah,
Israel, it doesn't work like that.
They're not.
Just 3 days after the stream, American Al Jazeera journalist Hussam Shabat and Palestine Today journalist Mohammed Mansour were killed by the IOF.
I don't think you guys understand Israel. It doesn't work like that.
As if the country is incapable of such actions. Even though reports from groups like Reporters Without Borders, Human Rights Watch, and Amnesty International show otherwise. Here are some more cases that really prove that Hila knows what she's talking about. In 2003, American student and peace activist Rachel Corrie attempted to stop the demolition of a Palestinian home by standing in front of an Israeli bulldozer. Despite her non-violent protest, she was tragically killed when the bulldozer ran her over.
I don't think you guys understand Israel. It doesn't work like that.
And in response, there were, or even still, Facebook posts from Israelis making fun of her by making pancakes with her face.
It doesn't work like that.
According to Al Jazeera, a report states the Israel-Palestine conflict to be the deadliest conflict ever for journalists. More journalists have been killed in Gaza than in both World Wars, Vietnam, Yugoslavia, and Afghanistan combined, says the Cost of War Project, with Israel's war on Gaza having 232 journalists.
Well, yeah, that might be true, but they definitely wouldn't target Hassan. He should go. He should go. He doesn't have a genuine concern. He's just lying. He's just lying. He just doesn't want to go. Should I eat Mayor Cat? He's so cute. Should I just like... Should I eat him? Okay, he's safe for now. Oh, Mayor. All right.
But what?
He was.
And I will say it once again, CPJ stated that since the war began in 2023, this has been the deadliest period for journalists since the CPJ began gathering data in 1992. Hila seems to imply that critics are uninformed. Why would Hila so confidently believe that Israel wouldn't bat an eye with Hassan coming to Gaza as a journalist? He happens to be one of the most prominent critics of Israel and quite a large voice for Palestine. Could it possibly mean that you might have a more biased view of the country when you are from there and have lived there for many years of your life?
He's never been to Gaza, never been to Israel. He doesn't know shit about it.
No, he doesn't.
He does not. But he talks like with such authority. Oh my God.
Maybe. Then someone in the chat calls Hila a child, and she says it's crazy.
Bloodthirsty, vile children killers are dreaming about getting people killed. What a surprise.
What reality do they live in?
It's literally just a silly
crazy.
joke.
I mean, can we all agree that it was a mistake for Hila and Ethan to start reading chats from a Twitch streamer that they have been obsessively harassing? While the statement is incredibly hyperbolic, it does stem from the fact that she served in the IOF, even if she had a non-combative role. And yet she continues to read the chat and start to infer that these people are just being anti-Semitic.
It's also like the Jews run everything kind of vibe I'm getting, because like, yeah, we'll send him to Israel and we'll get somebody to kill him.
But what could be the most shocking part in all of this is when Hila seems to be on the verge of revealing something she didn't intend to.
It's not a war zone, it's a genocide.
Monster 1 and Female Monster 2.
Oh, it's not a
Despicable.
war zone, so we can't say that it's a war zone? That's not woke enough?
He's going to say it's not a war zone, it's a killing field.
No, that's what he's saying. It's not a war zone, it's
very
genocide.
Okay, you can go.
Okay, call it whatever you want. It's dangerous. I admit that, right? So disgusting.
Huh?
Hila seems like she is mocking or downplaying the fact.
But that's... A war zone would suggest that both parties are equally-ish matched. That there is a back and forth in losses, whether it's casualties that are in the military or civilians, and that both parties have some form of equal standing. That journalists on either side would be just as likely to be harmed. But that's not the case here.
Fact that the situation is a genocide, as if calling it a genocide is just about semantics rather than acknowledging the reality of mass civilian casualties and displacement. So would Hila also mock the wording of these doctors that have seen it firsthand?
I've worked in a number of conflict zones in different parts of the world. I was there at the time of the Rwandan genocide. I've never seen anything on this scale, ever, and that was also the view of all the experienced colleagues that I worked with.
In northern Gaza, with the military offensive that's been happening by the Israeli forces there, we're seeing clear signs of ethnic cleansing as Palestinian people have been forcibly displaced, trapped, and then bombed.
Then Ethan's quick dismissal with,
okay, call it whatever you want. It's dangerous. I admit that. Right.
Reinforces this unwillingness to critically engage with a term, reducing a grave reality to a matter of preference rather than addressing its implications. After mocking Hassan for clarifying that it's not a war zone but a genocide, what are her thoughts on Holocaust survivor Arya Nair, who says this?
You have concluded that Israel is guilty of attempting genocide.
Yes.
That's a very heavy charge.
Yes.
So one could raise the question, is Hila dissecting Hassan's every word because he's crowned the H3 podcast's mortal enemy? Or is there something else at play, like a deeper discomfort with anyone who speaks out for Palestine? Because when nearly every pro-Palestinian voice ends up labeled as anti-Semitic or a token Jew, it becomes a pattern. For example, there is Matt Lieb, a Jewish man himself, comedian and pro-Palestinian voice. Or, according to Hila and Ethan,
one of these guys who's like, he's Jewish, and he loves that because he allows himself to be tokenized to the max.
Yeah.
And in response to Matt Lieb's speech in a pro-Palestinian rally, Hila's feedback sounds like this.
You're not special for wanting peace. You know that, right?
Just keep in mind, guys, Ethan and Hila always pretend to stand for a peaceful solution. But even in a peaceful speech of a fellow Jewish man, they find something to mock. Is it because he speaks up for Palestine?
I am so proud to be marching with so many Jews and Gentiles of all ages, races, genders, and nationalities who are
Dude, his response to this was
brave enough to demand an immediate ceasefire.
Yes, this man is so brave. Just speaking objectively, what is brave about what he's doing right now? He's
Who is
there
he demanding it from?
from question. I don't know.
Okay.
Karen Baston? Baston? I don't know.
I'm not speaking to you as a representative of all Jews. I am a bad representative.
Why'd you even say that? It's like, bro, he's playing the token card.
Wait, so you're saying...
Dude, I get like such a bad taste in my mouth every time he pulls the, oh, he's doing a token card. He's a token. He's being a token. He's being a token. Literally just shitting on someone for protesting against Israel's genocide, but they're pro-Palestinian, by the way. Denims on Bad Hasbara when? Dude, I should message Matt. Now is a good time to message him, actually. Now that I'm free, now that I'm not talking to my lawyer for the short term, now that I'm not in Texas anymore, I'm back home. Yeah. So that was not about time. I think that's a good place to stop on Ethan Klein using the classic token, in his words, calling anyone who's pro-Palestinian a token Jew. I think that is a good look for him, but I'm sure he'll phrase this as me lying about him because I played a clip of him talking. But I think it would go a long way if contacted Matt and Daniel as well. Daniel always feels left out. Oh. But I will try to finish this tomorrow. Okay. Now is a good time to head off for me. I have some work to take care of. Cat fur all over my fucking face from Mayor Cat demanding attention and love. And I just want to say it's crazy that we've raised $17,000 for this potential lawsuit. Thank you to everyone who donated. Like I said earlier, if Ethan Klein is willing to be the bigger person and retract his statements, I will make sure to refund all of this money. And we can do a fundraiser stream for Palestine. I would rather do these things separately. I don't want to send this money somewhere else because people are donating for one specific reason and it should be used for that specific reason. So yeah, thank you everybody for tuning into the stream. All right, I really appreciate it. I'll make a tweet soon if anyone wants to repost it. And I appreciate anyone who's bringing it more traction by posting about it elsewhere. I will keep you guys updated and informed on everything that happens. So thank you everybody for tuning in. I'm going to head off now, but I appreciate everyone for being here. Thank you for coming. Stay hydrated, tell your homies you love them, and I will see all of you guys tomorrow.
You are my best friend. You are the rent payer. You are the legend. Thank you, Ethan Klein. You are my best friend. You are the rent payer. You are the legend.
We all deserve someone to look at us the way E looks at the button. You're not wrong.